Hey guys, this is Jay. Thanks for joining me today. If it's your first time here, I want to thank you for checking out my channel. And if you've been here before, you know that I cover the gamut of things. Check out my video section. I got everything from music videos that I've done for my own personal music, covers, just me playing guitar, whatever. I do like technology related videos, or reviews, even some funny videos. And lately, you'll see that I've been doing a lot of AI related videos, specifically building apps in AI. And I found that, someone like myself who has very little programming experience um, can just know how to, write a good prompt and know how to troubleshoot, know how to QA, and know what to look for and how things are supposed to connect. Like for example, connecting my site to Cloudflare, DNS, or databases. I have PG admin here for my Postgres database for storing things in. Um, and it's been a wild ride. This year I've come so far. This is the first app right here you see that I built live Coinbase portfolio, which is just a quick overview of what's in my Coinbase. Um, and right now it's just USDT because I sold my Ethereum when it hit 3,800 or something like that. I'm waiting for a dip to buy more if that'll happen. Right now it's at 3,700. But when it drops below 3,500, I get a notification on my Telegram, letting me know, hey, it's fallen below your price down alert, and then I'll consider buying it. And I can click buy and go right to my Coinbase. And I also have it set up where I can get notifications when on coins I actually own drop below or above a certain percentage or dollar amount. Well, technically USDT because that's what I'm comparing all these to. So this is my first app that I built, and it works pretty good. Still, work in progress. But the second one I did here is Travel Tracker. I'm still in the process of overhauling it because I was using an email parser with a webhook with Google Apps Scripts, and that honestly was a crapshoot. It would a lot of times it would miss stuff. So I figured, well, since I've been able to use AI to create apps, I can also use AI to review my emails that I get from different, travel agencies or whatever for booking flights, hotels, car rentals, and it'll be able to parse that out just by reviewing it. Just use my Open Router or Open AI API key and have it do it. It's probably be pretty cheap. So I'm working on that, and this is the prompt that I have, and it's going to transfer everything in JSON and throw it in my Postgres database. But that's still a work in progress. That's going to be my next video. And then this last one I have here, I recently uploaded to the Chrome Web Store, and this one here is really nice. It's called Easy Folders. It's for Gemini, and it allows you to store your conversations in folders. Give them colors and stuff, and what's cool is you can create conversations in a gem or create a folder from a gem, and then have all your conversations automatically stored there. So this is on the Chrome web store right now. If you wanted to install it, it's totally free, but you can donate it if you want. So those are the first three apps, and then the latest one here is honestly a crown jewel so far that I've done, and it's called BisayaLearn. And let's log out so you can see what it looks like when you first go to the site. Eventually, I'll probably purchase BisayaLearn.com or .net or something, but right now I have it hosted as a subdomain on my personal petrified.net website. And I'm really stoked with how this came out. I actually started this with Abacus AI, which has a lot of good strengths. It does a lot at once, but you only get so many credits. And I spent, $20 and went through 25,000 credits within a matter of a couple of hours, and I ran out of, and it was getting, AI makes mistakes sometimes, doesn't understand the full context of things sometimes, and maybe I'm still learning how to write good prompts. I think I'm getting good at it if I can come up with all this stuff, but still, that's the most frustrating thing is sometimes AI just doesn't get it right. So I ended up downloading all my files, storing it on my thin client. Then I'm working with Cursor, and Cursor has gotten me the rest of the way. And right now, this app is a project that I'm doing with my fiance Netley. She's my fiance in the Philippines, and I want to. She's been lately, saying, "Hey, you're spending a lot of time on these tech projects of yours. You need to spend more time with me." I'm like, fair enough. And but nothing's gonna stop me from my hobbies, right? I'm a guy, I can't help it. But I thought to myself, well, I've been talking about learning Bisaya, which is also known as Cebuano, throughout the world. And locally, they call it Bisaya. And I don't know if you want to call it a dialect or a separate language, but it's from the Davao and Cebu region, and they speak Bisaya. So I said, you know what? How about I create an app that, I can create the app, and then she can go in and review and add vocabulary and lessons and writing exercises and listening exercises and stuff like that. And we could work on it together. It'd be a great bonding experience, and also we could potentially. My goal is to eventually, after she goes through it all, make sure that all the words and the sentences are correct. Would be to release it to the wild, into the public, and then people can purchase it. Get a 7-day free trial. Then after that, it's not too expensive per month, or if you want to buy it, and own it, you can do that too. Or just say lifetime subscription would be more accurate. But let's log in and show you what I was able to come up with completely AI. Oops, and absolutely no, I can't say none, but very little programming experience. I know how to decipher some things, but honestly, I could never have done this without the help of AI. And you're presented with a dashboard when you log in, and you can check out your profile to see, change your name, email, password, settings, and eventually after a 7-day trial ends, you'll get this option to upgrade. And this is the only time I'm going to mention this for folks that have watched this video. I'm going to have a coupon code called Bisaya that you'll get half off any of these, whether it's the monthly, yearly, or lifetime plan. So if you're a American or someone a European, Australian, whomever, doesn't matter who you are, but that's typically the folks that meet up with folks in the Philippines, women in the Philippines. Seems to be a match made in heaven most of the time. And hey, you could have a good excuse now or reason to learn Bisaya, so you can understand all the shit your you know Filipino girlfriend saying behind your back or to her family. No, I'm just kidding. But hey, you'll be able to impress her, right, with your knowledge, being able to converse with her and understand the locals better. And I'm speaking to myself here because I know very very little Bisaya, and I want to learn it. I want to be able to bond better with my fiance, soon to be wife. So here you go. So the first thing is chapters, and I'm going to go through not only the user interface for the person is going to be using it, but also the back end, so you can see what I was able to design with completely with AI and how this works. So a lot of this is going to be kind of like demoing the app, but also explaining the back end of it, and how I was able to articulate things with prompts, prompt engineering, right, to get it to do what I wanted it to do. So again, cursor, that's what I use right now. And I currently have a session open here for my travel tracker app, trying to get that working properly. But it's awesome. It can see your whole directory and edit files, go into the terminal, run commands. It's just epic. The stuff that we can do in 2025. But anywho, back to this. So it starts off with chapters. So there's right now about 25 chapters here, and this one down here is one that Netley added last night, and there's going to be some additional lessons in there eventually. Um, but so it starts off with chapters. And click this edit here and change the title, the description, what the difficulty is, the estimated time. This all gets stored in a Postgres database, so I can access it here. Even though still trying to figure out the syntax because I'm used to Microsoft SQL. But anyways, I can see and make sure all the database stuff is stored in the right place, and AI is really good at doing that. That's the one thing I'm really impressed with. So we go into a lesson here, and this is how it's structured. So I have edit mode here, and I told uh, Cursor, like, I want to be able to edit this in line. So I don't want to have to, because originally I created like an administration section, and I was editing chapters and lessons in there. I'm like, no, that's done. I want to be able to see what it looks like for the front end user, but also be able to edit it in the same page. And it was able to pull it off. It took a little bit of struggle, but got it right. So how this works is you get the title, the content, lesson type, and the estimated time. You can move these things around too, which is really nice. Any changes, you hit save. This is the main part of the app right here. All the vocabulary words like maayong buntag, good morning, maayong hapon, good afternoon. And if I want to add more, let's just for the sake of this demonstration here, I'm going to add a word here. Let's say if I can think of one. I know Ako C means I am. That's for a different lesson, but I'm going to add it here just to show you how this works. I was going to say Ako CJ or whatever. So this is a basic, let's say greeting. And I would just type, this is all my fiance has to do. I wanted to make this easy for her. I don't want to have her come up with translations or example sentences. No, what I was able to do, and this is the coolest thing ever, is I have a prompt, and I'm probably going to move this to a place where I can edit it in the UI. But I have a prompt in the back end right now that says, take this Bisaya text, give me the the phonetic guide for it, which will be used later for I have 11 labs to generate the when you hit play, it'll play back that word or that phrase. So I just come up with this Ako C here, and it's going to give me a phonetic guide, an English translation, an example sentence phonetic guide for this piece here, and an example sentence in English, which is the translation. So all I got to do is that and hit this get phonetic guide translation. Wait a few seconds. Boom, there it is. I am not Maria. um, but it's going to give you a generic one. I don't know what was it, J or J. I don't know what the phonetic. And then just hit that button right there. I see J. I just get a kick out of it every single time. And the 11 Labs is such good audio processing. I'm really impressed with it. But if for some reason my fiance is like, nah, it's not really pronounced correctly, no big deal. All she has to do is click record custom. Ako C. Ako C. And then when she hits save here, I'm not going to do that now. It'll override whatever's here from 11 Labs, which will save me on credits. Because they give you like 10,000 credits a month or whatever. So we'll delete that. But that's it. Then just add that there and it shows up here and you'll see later how that works. So get the vocabulary. And if she wants to do a video, well, just ignore this. This is just me testing stuff. Just testing adding a video, which I'll eventually have her go in here and create videos. She can either use a URL from YouTube, or she can record a video directly here. Now it's not going to work now because I'm recording a video right now, but this will use your camera embedded in this modal, and you can save it, or she can even upload one directly from her phone or Chromebook, whatever the case may be, and it'll be stored in the lesson. So I'm going to leave this here just for demonstration purposes. So that's the video piece. And there's a few more pieces I'm going to show you that I did that's even more impressive, I think. But they're in intermediate lessons. But in the preview mode, if you hit review here or start if you haven't done it yet, you'll see that at the very top she can have like a lesson overview, and then a video with a relevant video about the topic that's being discussed for this lesson that you can watch, and then you come down here and do each of the words. So you can play back the 11 Labs. Maayong buntag kaninyong tanan. Not bad, not bad, not bad for 11 Labs. I'll tell you that right now, because they didn't have a model for Bisaya, or even Filipino or anything like that. But yeah, and then you just go down here and you press the record button to practice your pronunciation. Maayong buntag. And that tells you your accuracy. So it's able to test your pronunciation. And that's another thing that 11 Labs does, which is pretty nice. You can save your progress if you're not done yet. I think I've already, I've already done this, but I had to do a refresh, so I'll do this again. But yeah, and then after you do all your pronunciations, then at the very bottom, there's some interactive exercises here, so you can do some word matching. This one is, how are you? And you'll get scored on that. And then down here, there's some fill in the blank exercises. And once you finish all of those, that's a glitch. I'll fix that. But there's once you finish everything, you'll be able to hit complete lesson, and then proceed to the next lesson. All right, so I'm not going to save this now, but that's the lessons piece. But there's a couple more pieces I want to show you here. Make sure we're in edit mode. intermediate have a couple more parts. So if you once you get far enough along, or I get far enough along, because I'm actually going to do this myself. There's a couple more pieces to this. Let me make sure we're in edit mode. So there's two more tabs. Now you're hopefully at this point in your intermediate lessons, you're ready to write some sentences or paragraphs, or answer prompts, etc. So here we have an example of writing a short paragraph using these Bisaya words, and then we have model answer. So what's really cool about this is, let me just for demonstration purposes, let's go to translate.google.com and say, write a short paragraph using the following Bisaya words: ocean, sand, sun, waves, or something, whatever you want to use, right? And then I just copy this here. Let's go back to BisayaLearn, and I'm going to add a new exercise. Boom. And then all I got to do is click generate model answer again, using ChatGPT or OpenAI or Open Router. Click generate here, and then it will give me back a example. And what happens is the user will get presented with this prompt. They'll write their answer, and then the AI will compare their answer to the model answer, and then give feedback. To me, that was the fact that it worked was absolutely epic. Gave actual feedback, and the prompt will say, here's the um, did you use proper grammar? Did you use all the words that were mentioned in the prompt? Does it make sense what was written? And then offer any suggestions for improving the response. So that came out really nice. So we got that, and she could add additional ones if she wants. There has to be at least one per lesson for the intermediate lessons. And then the listening exercises is very similar, but in this case, instead of the user writing a paragraph or a sentence or whatever the case may be, this time it's just they listen to something. And I haven't even finished filling these all in yet, as you can see, but no problem. Just click the button here, let ChatGPT do the work for you, and that will generate the phonetic guide translation model answer. And that was working a little while ago. Go back in here. Yeah, the prompts is just not updating the UI. I'll fix that. But then what? Let's open up one that's already. Let me just get the. Steal this from here from now. Oh, that's why it's coming up with the wrong response. We'll fix that. But it'll play back the phonetic guide here, and the English translation will appear on the screen if the user hits, give me a hint or whatever. And then this again, it compares the user's response, so they'll write an answer to this, and this it'll compare this response and let them know, hey, you did well, or you could use some improvement. So as you can see, it's a little buggy still, but by the time this is public, of course, I'll have all the kinks worked out. So again, preview mode, start. At the bottom, you'll see, once you play this button, it'll play back the phonetic guide for it, so that you can hear it, pronounced better than if it was just kind of reading it like with English model. And again, it'll provide feedback here. So if I was to do, let me show you that piece because I know that's still working. Let's go back here, and we'll steal the answer here just because we're cheaters, right? Preview mode, start, and just throw that in here. And just wait for the response, and look at that. Isn't that just epic? I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of use cases, and if there's not already some use cases for using AI to process answers to tests, maybe that will unfortunately put some teachers out of business. Hopefully not. They'll still have to review it to make sure the AI is responding correctly to the prompts. But yeah, same thing for listening exercises. They'll be able to click the translation or click help to get a hint on it if they want. And then once they've done all that, they can go down here and complete the lesson. And then last but not least, every chapter will have a quiz at the end. And this is pretty cool too, because it's, you can create your own, whether it's a fill in the blank, or you can do multiple choice. You can add more options here, and I had to code it to randomize this because it was putting them the correct answer first and every single one. That would, that would have been so too easy, but yeah, and then you can see what that looks like here. And what is that? Tabang. Not scored, but yeah, it's because we're in preview mode. But once you get all of them right, you have a minimum score to pass, and then you'll be able to, once you complete that, then you'll be able to continue to the next chapter. And then for the last piece I want to show you here is the API management. And I'm going to add more prompts here because I want to do the prompts for the review, the feedback from the model, not just the translations and phonetic guide piece. So, and I was able to set it up where I can use an open router key. And then when I run out of my free prompts for that, it then goes to my OpenAI API key. So, save a little bit of money, use GPT 3.5 Turbo. And then here's the prompts, and I can edit this as I need to. And this is what this is just for the prompts for getting the words, the example sentences and phonetic guides and English translation stuff like that. But I'll eventually have all of them in here. This is for the administrators to edit to make sure that everything is getting properly presented and properly get proper feedback as well. So, and then we have a little help section here. And if you want to, read some guides how to use it, or you can edit the guides here and contact me if there's any issues with the site, like the that button that's not working properly right now. But that's again, all of this completely with AI. And all I got to do is go into AI or go into the cursor and say, hey, I click that generate button. It's not working. Can you fix it? And then it'll go through and it'll go, yep, I found the issue. This endpoint is wrong. Blah blah blah. And it'll fix it. Then it's gonna copy the files over to my production server and just do the stop the service, do the npm build, whatever it's called, and then restart the service. Boom, done. So gotta know how to use the terminal a little bit for that, but yeah, there you have it, folks. These are some of the things you can do with AI, just completely on, even with no experience with code or programming whatsoever. As long as you know how things should work, and you're willing to troubleshoot, edge cases and everything, and multiple times. And the problem is, I know for a fact that button was working before, but sometimes you got to be real careful. It'll make adjustments to the code and then break something. So it'll fix one thing and break something else because it's needs context. And unfortunately, context windows, while they're getting better, they do eventually, it gets, whatever you said way, an hour ago might have fallen off its radar because it gets tunnel vision. It's focusing on that one thing, and it'll fix that one thing completely, but then break something else. So what I've been learning to do is tell it to store everything it's done in a file, then reference that file, so that later on, I think it's called context engineering or something like that. I forget what Cole is his name, Cole Devin or something like that. He does some cool AI videos, and agents. He does like different like agentic workflows and stuff in N8N and FlowWise and stuff. And he's like, it's very 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 important. You need to have a file that it can reference at all times to make sure that it's not missing anything, that it understands the context of everything. Even put in some of your like IP addresses and credentials and stuff, just so it can know and test things and access the database, make sure everything's there and all the endpoints are correct and all the field references are in the right tables and columns in those tables. So that's one thing I'm learning as I go, to make sure that I'm making sure AI has the correct context every time with every prompt. And don't let anything slip, and review the code, because even though I don't know how to review code sometimes, or I don't know how to write code, I know how to review the edits that it makes. And sometimes it clearly like hard code shit. It's like hard coding numbers or dates. Like, no, don't ever let it get away with that. You call it out immediately and say, no, you need to do this logically. There should be no hard coding of anything whatsoever if you're going to avoid it. So there you have it, folks. This is BisayaLearn. Hopefully we'll have this up and running in the next couple of months. And it'll be a cool little thing that me and my fiance can work on together, and maybe it'll be make a little bit extra money on the side as well, pay for some of those travel expenses that we're gonna have when I visit her in December. So, anywho, folks, thanks for watching. God bless.